If you're looking for something a little bit different to play, this Secret Mage deck just might have you covered here. The deck really just trying to take advantage of the Mage secret, specifically Objection, probably one of the strongest, if not the strongest secrets in the game, just because of how disruptive it is for your opponent's turn, as well as the counterspell here, and really the rest of the deck just kind of fills in around that. We want to be able to draw the secrets, so you're going to notice Costume Singer in here, being able to potentially clear the board with the Chatty Bartenders if secrets are in play. And then as well as Orion Mansion Manager. Card doesn't necessarily pop off a lot. If you don't have this card, I don't think you exactly need it to be able to play in this deck. You could run like a second copy of Frozen Touch. You could run like a Blade Master Okani. Probably not going to notice the difference, but there is some small number of games where this card alone is actually just going to be able to win you the game. We're going to be creating a lot of stuff just because that's like on brand for standard Hearthstone right now, is these created by wins. I don't like them, but I know a lot of people do. So we're going to be running Infinitize the Maxitude. We've got Sketchy Strangers for secrets from other classes. We've got Vast Wisdoms. And so we really just have ways to really just be able to create things to possibly be able to win us the game here. And then Queen Ashara also falling into that category. We'll be able to create spells or create a Colossal as needed in order to be able to win the game as efficiently as possible. Standard mulligan for the deck, I would be looking to keep the 1-drops here, Arcane Worm, Costume Singer. I'm also going to be keeping the 2-drops in Anonymous Informant, as well as the Arcanologist, and then potentially also Sketchy Stranger. Honestly, I like keeping Vast Wisdom as well, and even Infinitize the Maxitude. One thing you're going to notice when you start playing this deck, it's not necessarily about early board presence, so that's what we're going to focus on. There will, however, I do want to make a note, be some games where you're going to be able to play like an Anonymous Informant on 2, and then on turn 3, you'll be able to play a free secret, and then be able to get down to 6/6, and then of course, with an absolute dream draw, you can actually have 2 secrets in play and get down 2 free 6/6s on turn 3. Going to be really, really rare, but it is going to happen again in some number of games. Pretty interesting choice for the mulligan here against Paladin. We definitely want to keep the Anonymous Informant. I'm tempted to keep the Objection in the early game and just toss these Sketchy Strangers. We'll be able to play it for free. I think timing is going to be a bit of an issue. We want to make sure we play it when it's appropriate. We don't necessarily want to intercept like one of our opponent's 1-drops. And looks like we also pick up a turn 1 play, so we're just going to jam this on turn 1, get some nice tempo, and really with the Arcane Bolt, we're just going to look to control the board in this particular matchup in the early game, maybe even in every matchup. You know, we're not really trying to save this Arcane Bolt to be able to kill our opponent later in the game. It's just going to be a tool for us to use an extra card in hand, and we're just going to use it for board control early. So our opponent actually has nothing, and we can get down the Arcane Worm. And the good thing is, with this Anonymous Informant, the next secret costs 0. You don't have to play it this turn. So for example, if we wanted to save our secret to be able to play like a turn 3 or even a turn 4 Chatty Bartender, then that's going to be perfectly acceptable. We're going to take the trade because we know Paladin likes to have minions on the board to buff. And then we're going to go ahead and get our secrets out to 0. But again, I don't necessarily want to play an Objection because our opponent could play, you know, a cheap minion that we don't really want to block anyway. And picking up the Queen Ashara is actually really interesting because now we could actually play like the Objection, second Informant, and Arcane Bolt, and then next turn we could coin Ashara to try to get out an early Colossal. The question is, what's going to be the best way to do that? I think that might actually be the play. We're going to go ahead, object, we'll get the next free secret, and then I'm just going to go ahead and use this face. Make sure we don't forget to attack face here, so you can see here, we'll be able to coin out Queen Ashara on 4. That's going to give us a turn 5 Colossal, which might be a good way to actually be able to win this particular matchup. I think if the game is going to give us that, if that's what our hand is allowing us to do, then we're just going to go ahead and do exactly that. Our opponent choosing to wait. The other option here is to actually just play out the Chatty Bartender. And I think we may actually play the Objection again as well. Just hold the coin. We can go Chatty Bartender, Objection. We'll be able to save the coin and get down the Ashara next turn. Just between us. So we can take a bump like that. Only other thing that we would want to think about is the objection. Do we want to try to save it for potentially like the Curator when our opponent's going to be drawing lots of cards? But if we don't have a secret in play, the Chatty Bartender doesn't go off. So we could still consider Queen Ashara this turn. But I think we're just going to go ahead and we're going to be efficient. We're going to spend mana. It's going to clear our opponent's board. Likely the 1/1s are going to be coming down at some point. There's potentially going to be the 5/5 light rays that could be coming into play. The objection likely only going to block a 1/1. And our opponent definitely playing well to be able to test for the objection. And we'll see where the buff lands here. The buff not necessarily all bad though, with the way it landed. So I think we're definitely just going to get down the Queen Ashara. And we're going to want the Colossal here. Unfortunately, no secret in hand to really be able to take advantage of Chatty Bartender still being on the board. So I'm going to bump to remove the Divine Shield and then take a hit like this and pass it back. If our opponent has the Curator here, they could potentially build a very, very big board. And we're really just going to be looking for something like a Gigafin off of the Horn of the Ancients here. We're also going to want to be using Infinitize the Maxitude as much as possible. Typically when this is in your hand, you probably want to be discovering spells anyway, just like you do with any Mage deck. Just hasn't really worked out this particular game. Just feeling like we've actually had better plays here. And interestingly enough, the Chatty Bartender stays up. Astalor is a good pickup. We could even just draw a secret. If we draw a secret, we'll be able to play the secret. And then we can coin out Astalor to break this, and that's going to give us the AoE. And then we can save the Colossal for a little bit later. I think I like that play. And we actually hit a counter spell here. And that's going to allow our Chatty Bartender to be able to go off again. So you can kind of see here the power of the Chatty Bartender when you have a secret in play. We're actually able to keep our opponent's side of the board clear. Potentially the Colossal could be coming down. Leviathan, again, we don't want to see Curator. If our opponent's able to draw cards with Curator, we're going to be seeing at least one, possibly two light rays. They're going to be coming down, and I believe at this point they're going to be free, which is going to be bad news for us. It does not appear to be the case here, though. And again, kind of the good news that we're looking at is the Chatty Bartender is staying on the board. And it's going to go off again for 2 damage here. And so, again, I mean, this is just a pretty straightforward turn. We're going to get down the Trainee, and then we're still going to be able to play our Colossal here. We actually hit Gigafin to be able to clear the board anyway, and then we're going to push face here with the things that remain. You can see here our opponent decides to bow out. This was a pretty good high roll for us, but all of the Colossals would have been good. We were definitely moving in the right direction with this game. So we got another Paladin here. I mean, I think we're just going to keep to the standard Mulligan, and we're going to keep these guys. Seeming to be a lot of Paladins. And if we can hit like an anonymous informant at some point here, we'll be able to get down a cheaper 6/6, which is going to be good. And again, every game with this deck is going to be different. Depending what our hand looks like, we may actually just want to play Infinitize the Maxitude on turn 2 here. We do have a Sketchy Stranger play if we want it. We've got the Infinitize. We could even just ping and trade. I feel like putting a minion on the board and drawing a secret is probably going to be our best bet, though. And then we're going to take a trade into a Divine Shield here. And we hit the counter spell. Important to keep in mind, no Paladin secrets available in Standard now, so the cheapest secret we can hit is going to be 2 mana. So it's not like for 3 mana we could play this and play a Paladin secret. So important little things to keep in mind, making sure that we know what we're potentially going to be able to get off of this. It actually has the potential of drawing a lot of different secrets. So there's not necessarily something guaranteed. Interestingly enough, I think we still just play the Sketchy Stranger, and I want a secret that we're almost guaranteed our opponent isn't going to proc. Unfortunately, let's see. I'm going to take the emergency maneuvers here, and then I just want to go ahead and clear up a little bit of the board while I have the opportunity. So, ideally, next turn, if our side of the board is empty, I'll play emergency maneuvers and infinitize, and then on turn 5, get down the Chatty Bartender. It's going to guarantee that our secret is still going to be in play to be able to get that AoE, and that's going to be good against what our opponent has done here. So we're going to do exactly that. We'll get down the emergency maneuvers, and then I'm going to go ahead and infinitize here. So we're going to be taking a little bit of damage. Out of these, Shooting Star is definitely the best, and I actually just want to go ahead and use this now. That's going to remove the Divine Shield. It removes a couple of minions. Our opponent likely is going to play out those 1/1s, at least if they don't have anything better to do. We'll be able to get down the Chatty Bartender. It's going to hopefully clear our opponent's side of the board.
Reporting for duty.
Which it is going to do. And then when the Chatty Bartender dies, it is going to be coming back as well for us. So unfortunately, not able to spend mana here, but everything went exactly as we expected. We've been able to clear the board now. And again, once this dies, we'll be able to get another copy of it, and we do have secrets in hand to be able to activate that board clear. And I'm assuming it actually dies this turn. It is going to be dormant for 1 turn. And you can see here our opponent actually has a really, really nice board. I think we want to play the objection. Certainly. And then I think we just want to get down our 6/6. Hopefully the objection intercepts a big minion. You know, something along the lines of like Purator would be absolutely insane here if our opponent doesn't play around it. At the rank I'm playing at, I'm going to assume that they'll play around it, but you know, at certain ranks throughout the ladder, there could be situations where your opponent will play directly into it and just throw away a really good minion. We'll take that. This card has been in their hand for a long time. That could actually be the Purator. Could be the Countess. And we're going to clear the board again. I want to go ahead and use the Frozen Touch. It's infused, and then I'm going to Infinitize. So you can see the difference in this game and the last game. We're using the Infinitize much more. And I'm going to take the Blizzard here. Blizzard is going to be good potentially to just lock down our opponent's side of the board so that they can't kill us. And we're going to be hoping to, you know, sneak in additional damage over time. We do see that this was Anachronos in their hand, so the big boy, 8/8 on the board. And I think I just want to work it out that we're able to Infinitize again. So in order to do that, I just want to play...
Curious.
I'm going to play both of the secrets here, and then I'm going to Infinitize. I'm going to hold on to the Bartender. It's not going to do anything for us now. Volume up. We got a little bit of damage in the form of Arcane Bolt. We do have the Blizzard and the Snap Freeze to potentially be able to mess with our opponent. This would be 3 mana. So thinking about now, are we going to be able to set up and Infinitize the Maxitude next turn at 9 mana? This would be 3. That would be 5.
Hail and well met.
I'm going to take the Arcane Bolt here, and we're just going to pass it back to our opponent and see what they do next. So fortunately, we were able to counterspell something that was going to cause us to take additional damage, and it looks like our opponent is actually going to hero power here. And next turn, we'll get back our Spectral Trainee. So I think, let's see, we actually don't have a secret. I can just go Blizzard to freeze the board. That's going to prevent this from being able to trade into our Trainee. It's going to make sure that we don't take damage. And then I can just like ping and infinitize. Likely going to ping. Our opponent does have access to some type of healing here. But I'm actually going to ping face, and then we're going to infinitize. Again, just looking for ways to be able to stall out the game. Second copy of Frozen Touch. We could rewind. There's no guarantee that we're going to hit Blizzard off of that. I'm going to take the Cold Case, and then we'll pass it back. Cold Case is going to help us to be able to infuse our Frozen Touch. It's going to give us a little bit of armor.
What'll wet your whistle?
Unfortunately, our opponent not necessarily hitting any power cards here for the deck that they're playing, which is good news for us. Although that ends up being really good for them. That was a good discover. And so we may be actually in a situation where we're going to have to infinitize to try to look for an answer here. And we're going to have to think about how many spells we can cast to be able to get damage off the Spectral Trainee. At this point, clearing the board here is going to be good. Might actually have to infinitize and not get that card back in our hand. See what else our opponent is going to do here. It would be nice to be able to cast 5 spells. I think we could guarantee a board clear if that were the case. We do have a counter spell. So we need to count our mana here. This would be 2, 5, 8, and 10. And that would be 1, 2, 3, 4. Which would still allow us to be able to clear the board here. So, I'm going to go ahead and Cold Case. We can get down the counterspell. And the Arcane Bolt. We want to make sure that we remove this big guy right here. And I'm just going to go ahead and Frozen Touch, and then we're going to Infinitize. So we lost our Frozen Touch. We can actually pick up another Frozen Touch. Or we could take an Objection. I think Objection is probably going to be the better option for the situation that we're in now. We kind of have to hope that our opponent doesn't top deck something really strong now, but then with the Objection, if they do top deck a really good minion, we can potentially just block it. So we're gonna accept what the game is giving us here. So again, I want to set it up just to be able to play the finale on the Infinitize. So that would be 7. Let's see, 5, 6, ping. Well, this will actually be free, so 2, 6, 7, 8, and then Infinitize. So we're going to play the Objection. We're going to get down our 6, 6. Essentially, our opponent has to trade for it. We'll get down the Chatty Bartender. I'm going to go ahead and get down this just to have the minion on the board. I think I actually want to remove the 8-7 rather than go face.
Only so much time.
And the question is, are we taking a Pyroblast here? I think we could potentially set up lethal with the Pyroblast, and then all of these are going face. The Chatty Bartender goes off. It's going to clear the 8-2. And we have a 9-mana Pyroblast in hand. Potentially, we're just going to be able to kill them at some point with 10 damage from hand. So again, we're feeling pretty good here, and I think it actually looks like we're going to be winning this game. Our opponent does have one last card, and we're going to find out what it is, maybe. But it does look like we're actually just going to be getting there. And we are going to get there. That's actually going to do it for the video. Secret Mage is really, really fun. Definitely would encourage you to get out and give it a try if you have the cards. If not, don't worry. I've got some more decks that are going to be coming around in future videos to help you be able to hopefully enjoy Standard Hearthstone until the new expansion comes out. I'm Uncorrupt. Thank you so much for watching, and good luck out on the ladder.